All right, hello everybody. Welcome to this week's Neuro Fundamentals, where today we are going to be looking at improving our tolerance to carbon dioxide. And we're actually going to jump straight into the exercises today because the first 5 exercises we're going to do involve having a very long break in between. So I'll explain a little bit of the philosophy why we might even want to be doing this as we go. But basically the idea is the better our body is able to cope with carbon dioxide, first of all, it's going to produce more blood cells. That means we can take in more oxygen. And secondly, it means our blood vessels are going to open up. They're going to get a little bit wider, and that's going to be really great for our blood flow. Also really great for our blood pressure, dealing with things like cholesterol and all sorts of other things. So I'll try to add in just little bits of theory around what we're doing as we go, but ultimately I want to kind of make this a fairly short and sweet session, because the exercises, well, they'll start off all right, but they'll end up a little bit intense. So as you might have seen, I'm a little bit low today. We are going to start off straight away with a breathing exercise, and we're going to be repeating this exercise over a few times, but in the beginning we're going to start right the way down on the floor. Okay, the idea behind this is when we're lying down on the floor, our brain has to work just a little bit less hard. Okay, so our balance system doesn't really have to do any work to brace us. Our core musculature is all as relaxed as it can possibly be, because it only has a little bit of stabilization to do. And we're going to close our eyes. We're going to stop any visual information getting into our body. The idea is it's just supposed to be really nice. Changes our blood flow as well, slows it down a little bit. And that's all going to be really useful for the exercise that we're going to try and do. So the idea behind these first few exercises, if you're on our programs and you get given them, they'll be called the OA breath hold. OA standing for oxygen advantage. So if you've read The Oxygen Advantage by Patrick McKeown, he's one of the big kind of pioneers in pushing this forward for people, and he's kind of taken the current research on improving your CO2 tolerance and developed a pretty good system on doing it. So we're going to start off following his system almost to a T. We're going to add in a few tweaks just to maximize our time efficiency. And here's how it goes. The exercise, all you have to do, you're going to take a normal breath in, so you're not breathing super deep or anything like that. Then you're going to take a normal breath out. And then after that normal breath out, so again, it's not a full exhale, just however you would normally exhale, you're going to hold your breath for up to 30 seconds, okay? I'm going to be here with a timer. We're going to go for 30 seconds. 30 seconds is your target to beat. If you can get to 30 seconds, we're going to try and make it a little bit harder every time. If not, I'll still show you the progressions so you know what you can be building up to. Okay, so you're going to start lying down on the ground. You're going to get yourself nice and comfortable. So depending on body tension, some of you are going to find legs out straight more comfortable. Some of you are going to find some kind of combination of, legs in, legs out, nobody's judging, whatever position makes you feel actually comfortable and relaxed. Okay, so you're just going to be lying down on the ground. You're going to close your eyes, and we're going to go for this OA, oxygen advantage breath hold, a normal breath in and normal breath out hold. Let's give it a go now. So it's normal breath in, normal breath out, and hold. We're going to hold that here for 30 seconds. So just keep yourself nice and relaxed. The idea is to keep holding the breath the entire way through. You really want to fight for that 30 seconds. But the kind of controversial thing here is the way you're going to fight for the 30 seconds is to just try and relax harder, okay? So as you're doing this breath hold, your body is producing a lot of carbon dioxide And carbon dioxide is an acid that is 30 seconds. You can relax if you haven't lost it already. So some of you may have found that really easy, some of you really difficult. And once you finish the exercise, you can come take a seat. I'll just finish that thought there. So basically, we were saying carbon dioxide is an acid, okay? When too much acid builds up in your body, your brain is going to want to change the acidity levels in your blood. And a really good way of doing that is to force you to breathe in, okay? When you breathe in, you take oxygen into your lungs, oxygen swaps with the carbon dioxide that is in your bloodstream, and then you're going to breathe that out and expel it, okay? So a really good way of lowering your body's acidity level is exhalation of carbon dioxide. So if that's the case, why is it even a good idea to have carbon dioxide in the first place? Well, if you remember when I said the oxygen swaps with the carbon dioxide, oxygen cannot attach to a blood cell unless it swaps with carbon dioxide. So actually, the better you get at producing a lot more carbon dioxide and not have your body suffer for it, so not have it actually cause damage to your body, technically, that means you can now breathe in more oxygen. So if you do a deep breath in, if there isn't enough carbon dioxide in your blood, doesn't matter how much oxygen you've got in your lungs, you are only going to be able to take in the amount that swaps with some carbon dioxide. Now, the reason I'm spending a little bit of time talking here is after each one of these exercises, we want to be doing a rest of about 2 minutes, okay? Normally this would be flat rest. You would just do 2 minutes rest of absolutely nothing. And what is going to happen in that time is your kidneys are going to produce some red blood cells, okay? Now, for time efficiency, what I'm going to propose is we're going to do a couple of different exercises for improving blood flow, lung capacity, and things like that, okay? And the first one that we are going to look at is blood flow. So to do this, normally I would say you're going to use a cloth or a towel or something that isn't your own hands. But for neuro fundamentals, I always want to do this without any equipment, so you can just follow along anywhere. And what we're going to use is literally just our hands, okay? And what we're going to do is just very gentle stimulation all around your entire body, okay? So we're going to do just very light rubbing. I'm going to start at the face, okay? The face has a lot of blood capillaries. There is a lot to supply in the brain. So when we kind of stimulate stuff from there first, we tend to get things going a little bit quicker. Then we're going to move down to the neck. So again, I'm changing which part of my hand is rubbing. Is totally personal preference, okay? You can do one side and then the other side. You just want to make sure you get some light stimulation around your entire body, really not putting too much deep pressure on any one bit in particular, okay? So I'm just coming down one arm here. I'm going to do the whole thing all the way down. This is going to stimulate blood flow, also going to stimulate lymphatic flow. We will do another neuro fundamental specifically on stimulating the lymphatic system. That is the waste disposal system of the body. That's going to be obviously very useful as well when we're thinking about rest and recovery and getting rid of waste products. So we're just going to keep going with this stimulation. I feel like we might be going a little bit over 2 minutes here, so we'll just speed that up. Let's go bring it right down to the chest and the torso. Again, at least 10 seconds in each position, okay? You're gonna reach around your back as much of your lower back, upper back as you can reach. Again, if you had something big like a towel, you could be flossing either side. Again, we don't have so much time for that, so we'll move it down to the upper thigh and the leg, all the way down to the feet. And if you're wearing shoes, I'd recommend you take them off. Don't neglect the actual feet. There's a lot of bones there. That means a lot of bones means a lot of blood vessels and a lot of stimulation that we can be doing. Let's just move that across to the other leg now. So again, as long as it's super light, it's not super deep or vigorous rubbing, then everything is all good. Okay, make our way down the other foot. Okay, cool. So now the rules are, if you made it to 30 seconds lying down on the ground, in theory, with that 2-minute rest, with your body producing lots more red blood cells, and with our little blood flow stimulation with all of that sensory stimulus, in theory, we should be capable of taking in much more oxygen now. And with more oxygen coming in, that means we've got more blood cells that can then swap with carbon dioxide. That means we can actually tolerate more acid in the system before we need to get rid of it, okay? So if you made it to your 30 seconds, we're going to move to phase 2, which is sitting in a chair, okay? Really good if it's a chair with a back, okay? So we don't want to be, again, adding too much balance stimulus. This is just lifting one part of us upright, so now our blood pressure has to change. Our heart has to pump a little bit harder to fight against gravity to get everything around. As it's pumping harder, muscles are doing more work. The muscles controlling my upper posture and head are doing a little bit more work. And because of that, we're going to produce carbon dioxide a little bit quicker. So the idea is, by sitting up, we've made the exercise harder, and by doing the initial exercise with 2 minutes rest, we've made it easier, and we're hoping that's going to cancel out, and we're going to manage another 30 seconds now, okay? If you didn't manage 30 seconds, stay on the ground and see if you can get longer this time. So we're going to do the exact same thing. It's going to be a normal breath in, normal breath out, and hold. And we're going for 30 seconds again. So the research that has been done on this, the reason that we're doing this kind of aim for 30 seconds, if you get 30 seconds, make it harder. The research seems to show that gave the maximum benefit to athletes, especially in terms of their lung capacity afterwards. And sorry, I looked at the time, I forgot entirely what I was going to add to that. The maximum number of rounds, that's 30 seconds relax. The optimum number of rounds was 5 times. So we are going to do 5 rounds of this, just to show you how you might do it optimally. And then we're going to go through a couple of different shortcuts and ways that you can do it when you're in a rush, or when you want to use it as a warm-up for something, rather than its own training tool in itself. Okay, so the next thing that is going to be really, really useful for our body's blood flow and lung capacity is just some general form of spinal movement, okay? So we're going to start just sitting in the chair, and we're going to try just a spinal slump and a spinal extension. Again, if your chair has a back, you can just lean yourself right over the back of the chair as far as you can, and we're just going to move into that a few times, okay? The more we kind of open up the front of the chest and we stretch all of the muscles on the front, and the more we stretch all of the muscles on the back, the more active they are going to be, the more they're going to be able to fill up our lungs. So when we move into this next level, we've just done this a few times, we're just going to lean forwards and backwards. We should find that we're able to fill our lungs a little bit more deeply as well. Let's add some side-to-side movement as well. So you're just going to tilt in your spine. We're going to reach, see if we can touch all the way down to the floor, keeping both of your bum cheeks on the chair. So just all the way down, moving as much just in the thoracic spine as possible. And then finally, we always want to add in some rotation in the spine as well. So we're just going to reach, and again, see if you can reach over maybe to your pocket on one side, and then with the other hand, you're going to reach around the back and see how close you can get to the pocket on the other side, and then the same thing the other way around. Okay, so this is just a light version. We're going to use this as a warm-up for the kind of more hardcore one that we're going to be doing next. So let's just reach and touch, and reach and touch. We'll just do 2 more rounds each side. Okay, then finally we'll do a little bit of very targeted thoracic spine work. So to begin, we're going to put your arms out like an airplane, and we're going to see if we can reach with your upper chest all the way to one side, all the way to the other side. I apologize if I'm not making direct eye contact here. I'm very much transfixed by watching myself on the camera. Yeah, I shouldn't be admitting that. Anyway, so just reaching out, you're trying to avoid using your whole spine. It's just in the top, okay? That thoracic spine there contains your rib cage, your intercostal muscles around your rib cage, your primary breathing muscles. So when we can move those well, very likely we increase our lung capacity. All right, so we are going to move to round 3. Now for this round, just gonna straighten that up. Yeah, we're gonna do the whole thing standing up. Again, that's if you made 30 seconds on the last round there. If you made 30 seconds only for the first time on the floor, move up to the chair. If you did it on the chair, move up to standing. Or if you just like it's a challenge and want to follow along, move up to standing as well. Okay, it's the exact same thing. We're just going to do it standing. I will let you choose eyes open or closed. Remember, with your eyes closed, you may be letting less visual information in, but now actually we're making our balance systems work a little bit harder. So depending if you're somebody who actually feels really chilled out, balancing on one leg, eyes closed, I'd recommend doing that. Otherwise, actually, eyes open might be a little less stressful when you're standing than it is when you are lying on the floor. So we're going to do exactly the same exercise. That's a normal breath in, normal breath out, and hold. Okay, and when you're standing, really going to emphasize now the key is going to be relaxing as hard as possible, okay? You may start to feel as you get into this exercise that you can feel your diaphragm moving. If you're not sure what that feels like, it'll be like you're trying to do a breath in, and it'll be a mix between like you're trying to inhale and you're having hiccups at the same time, and there'll be some kind of weird muscle in here that's kind of moving around. If that happens, there's 30 seconds, relax. If that happens, just go with it. You know, you can do as many attempts at an inhale as you like, but your goal is just to find some way to relax yourself, just find some way to remain calm. Now, one really nice way of relaxing yourself after, in between these breaths and these exercises is with a full kind of sigh exhale. I believe if anyone follows Tom Morrison's program, he calls them the fuck it breaths. And you'll see what I mean in a second. So the idea is you're going to just take a deep breath in through your nose and arch your back, just like arch back a little as you're inhaling. That arch actually is going to improve your ability to fill your lungs as well. So you're just going to, and then on the way out, you're just going to do a very loud sigh and go, so that's the fucking breath, just feel like you're fed up with everything. We're going to do 3 of those, so it'll be a as you do it, let yourself just slump forwards, let everything relax as hard as possible. Okay, so a lot of the time, when you're finished doing a really stressful exercise, your body can hold on to a lot of that tension. Remember, all muscle tension is going to be building all of these waste products, building other types of like things like lactic acid and things like that. And you don't want that if you're trying to improve your tolerance to carbon dioxide. Now, what we're going to try and do while we're standing, just one little exercise that's hopefully going to help us use our diaphragm a little bit more, is some lumbar mobility exercises. So your lumbar spine, basically, if you can find the bottom of your ribs, any part of your spine, pretty much all of your spine below the ribs is your lumbar spine. Normally, it doesn't really like to move too much, but your diaphragm, the ligament of your diaphragm is connected to this lumbar spine. So if we can get it to move just a little bit, we'll give that diaphragm a little bit of a stretch. And when our diaphragm is helping us inflate our lungs, the breathing becomes a little bit more relaxed. So again, it's another way to just force relaxation as we make these exercises a little bit harder. Okay, so to do this exercise, first of all, you're going to try and keep your upper spine now as straight as possible. And then we're going to tilt and tilt side to side, okay? So what we don't want to see is one shoulder lifting higher than the other. We want to see all of the movement coming from like the lower back here, okay? So as I lean, I'm probably not going to go very far, rather than the upper spine moving when we did the airplane arms. Now we're going as low as possible. Okay, we're just going to try that once or twice more. By the side, if it helps, you can soften your knees as well. Some people find that will help a little bit. Some people find when they soften their knees, they feel like the rest of the body wants to go soft. So play with whichever one you think is for you. Okay, then we're going to try and see if we can bring it around in a forward circle. So you're going to do that little tilt, and then you're going to try and roll yourself around to the front. Now, if you get this right, you're going to have that like almost hunched back, low down, as if you're trying to imitate, you know, like when you're a small child pretending that you're really old. You know, you got that rounded lower back and big straighter up at the top. Okay, we're going to try that on the other side. We're going to tilt. We're going to see if you can roll it around to the front. Again, this is, you've probably been told not to ever lift in this position. That's exactly the position we want to be in to get the lumbar spine to move. Now, if it feels okay, that might feel a little bit threatening. You can go for a full semicircle around the front. Cool. Okay, we're going to go into round 4. Now, round 4, I'm going to be on the spot, but round 4, I'm going to recommend that you start to take a walk. Okay, so now we're going to get balance systems in. We're going to get a little bit more visual stimulation. Actually, your ears are going to be picking up different noises, and you've got bigger muscle groups moving. Okay, so if you've got the space to just walk up and down, just go for a walk to the end of the room and back. If you don't have space for a walk, literally just march on the spot, and we will get the exact same things happening. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing again. It's going to be normal breath in, normal breath out, and hold. And you're going, so oh, I almost forgot, we're going for the walk. And yeah, just walking up or down, keeping it going. If you need to stop for a little bit to try and relax yourself, that is totally fine. But again, the key is just being as relaxed as possible. Think happy thoughts, smile. Sometimes just smiling can help you relax a little bit as well. But whatever it is, just a nice relaxed pace of walking. And we are done. We're at 30 seconds. Okay, cool. So final little thing that we're going to do, aware time is passing very, very quickly, according to me, so I guess we're really not taking 2-minute breaks here. It seems to be much longer. Sorry about that. But last thing that we're going to do, since now we're standing up and we're challenging our balance system, we're going to do a couple of exercises just to kick our balance system into gear. That's going to, again, improve our blood flow, improve our brain's ability to regulate its blood pressure, so that we can begin the final exercise, which is going to be the most neurally stimulating. So we're going to try and stimulate your brain and muscles all at the same time as we do this final exercise, okay? So all we're going to do here is we're going to balance on one leg, and we're going to try some vestibular perturbation exercises. So all you have to do here is you're going to turn your head in any direction you like. And once you've turned your head, you just have to see, can you maintain your balance? Once you know you can, just relax. And then you're going to get onto the other foot, and you're going to do the same thing, any random direction, okay? So if you want to, think about something in the room you want to look towards. So I might look at the light bulb, and I'll just look straight up. If you like to be more methodical about what you do, then just go around clock faces or compass points. So north, northeast, east. Doesn't really matter. We're not saying one is more important than the other right now. You just want to move your head into different positions and see, can you maintain the balance. It's just going to give you a light stimulus. If you want to make it much harder, you could also try it with your eyes closed and see, can you manage that? Okay, I'm gonna make this break a little bit shorter because I've made the other ones about 4 or 5 minutes long by the looks of the time here. And this round, as I said, this is going to be the most neurally stimulating one. I'll stick this phone away for a second, get rid of the timer. This is going to be a small lunge. You're going to look at one of your thumbs. You're going to turn all the way out, all the way back, all the way out, all the way back, and then step. All the way out, all the way back, all the way out, all the way back, and step, okay? So you're changing lunge every time. What your head is doing with your thumbs, your eyes are locked on your thumb, and you're following it the whole way, okay? So your eyes stay still in the middle of your head. If you've been following these videos, that's a vestibular cancellation. It's one of the most difficult relaxation exercises your brain can do. But while you're doing that at the same time, if you're moving very, very fast, you're going to get all your peripheral vision firing up really, really strongly. So your brain's getting a huge visual stimulus, balance stimulus, you're getting stimulus from the lunge, and we're going to try and be holding the breath on that normal out breath at the same time, okay? So that is the exercise. We're going to give it a go right now. It's going to be normal breath in, normal breath out. We're going for 30 seconds. Let's go, go, go. You step, lunge, head out, step, head out, step, head out. If you're in a small space, step backwards. We're about halfway, keep it going. So again, you can make these lunges super deep. If you find actually the head movement is the most difficult part, you can do a couple of those in between lunges. Isometrics might actually work just as well as moving. That's 30 seconds, relax. So there's 5 different levels. As I said, 30 seconds is kind of the sweet spot. 5 rounds is kind of the sweet spot. And although I was very bad at timing it, 2 minutes in between is the sweet spot as well, okay? So that exercise, in theory, should take you, what, 12.5 minutes to train, if you're always making sure you're choosing some kind of exercise that you can just manage for 30 seconds, okay? You can train it holding for as long as you possibly can. The idea is make the exercise difficult enough that you can only manage 30 seconds. And when you get to 30, you want to be doing something more difficult to tire yourself out, okay? And in terms of the exercises, that's kind of a progression I recommend in terms of just adding layers of the brain. You can be specific to whatever kind of sport you're doing. So if you're a runner, then obviously you could go from a walk to a jog to a sprint. You could be adding, plyometrics or lifting with heavier weights. It's entirely up to you, okay? Now, as well as doing this, we may find that we don't have 12.5 minutes and we actually just want a really quick method of stressing the body out, making it feel like it's unable to handle the carbon dioxide, so we get that huge, first of all, increase in blood cells and also a nice rush of oxygen to the head. We're going to try a couple of drills now that are going to address that and just show you some alternatives that you can use that are much, much quicker, okay? So this, again, if you're on programs, you will be very familiar, almost all of you will be familiar with these exercises. These are air hunger drills, okay? So in the oxygen advantage breath hold, the idea was to take a normal breath in and a normal breath out. For an air hunger drill, you're going to take whatever breath in you want, you're going to do an absolute full maximum exhale, okay? You're going to breathe out till you've got no air left, then you're going to hold it, and once you finish holding it, you are going to start doing some kind of movement work or exercise, okay? So we looked at some light things like lunges. Now let's make it a little bit more heavy. So we're going to add in burpees, okay? So this is going to be a full breath in, a full breath out till you've got no air left. You're going to do burpees. So for the uninitiated, that is jump your feet out, jump your feet in, jump up in the air. I'm going to be lazy on this one. I'll let you decide what counts as a good burpee. But you're going to do as many of those as you can. And then when you need to breathe again, you only get 2 breaths. Okay, so don't do so many burpees that you need to collapse on the floor, because we're going to do our 5 rounds of these with just 2 breaths in between. Okay, so we're going to do a nice deep breath in, full exhale out. Keep going, keep going, keep going until you've got no air left. Then you're going to hold. Once you need to breathe again, remember you've only got 2 breaths. So I did my first one. This talking right here is my second breath out. Round 2. Don't be surprised if round 2 is not anywhere near as good as round 1. You're going to keep doing that full breath out. I'm going to let you guys enjoy these next few just while I talk through a little bit. So you're going to jump straight back into those burpees. So this is just a very sped up version of what we were doing before. These 2 breaths, you need to force yourself to do the relaxation. So in the first exercise, the relaxation, you're trying to do in, man, that really ruined me, didn't it? You have to do them in the breathing exercise. In this version, you're trying to relax yourself as hard as possible in the recovery breaths in between, and then go as hard as possible in the exercise, okay? And that's just another way of facilitating the same stuff. It's not quite as good. It's not as good for your lung capacity, but for CO2 tolerance and for getting oxygen, more oxygen to your brain because of improving your CO2 tolerance, that version works just as well. Okay, I'm a little embarrassed of how much I suffered in that second round. I'm going to do one final exercise now. Another way that you can be doing nice CO2 tolerance exercises is actually just by doing normal breath holds, okay? And there's a couple of reasons why you might want to train normal breath holds over these ones. So if you find you're somebody who either has a lot of difficulty with vision or balance exercises, or you're working with us for any kind of jaw movement issues, or we've given you a lot of jaw exercises specifically, you may actually, rather than training the oxygen advantage side of things, you might benefit from training breath holding exercises, just specifically because breath holding tends to be controlled more in the midbrain, a certain part of the brain that does all of the kind of light sensitivity and sound sensitivity and things like that. Okay, so we're just going to try one more exercise. This is going to be an inhale and a breath hold. You're going to do as deep a breath as you possibly can. One recommendation that I have is once you get to the top of your breath, take a little sharp, short breath like that, and you are going to, that's just going to kind of puff out the alveoli, and that means more oxygen can get into the bloodstream at one time, okay? Once you're doing your breath hold, we're going to then, obviously, the longer we are able to hold our breath, the better, but that's going to eat up more of our training time. And again, we want to do about 3 rounds of this. We want to try and hold some kind of isometric exercise using our whole body, or as much of our body as possible, okay? So when we're doing an isometric exercise, all of the muscles on the opposing side of the joint, of the limb, are going to fight against each other for control of that joint. They want to make sure that they're tensing just exactly the right amount. That's going to use up a huge amount of fuel, and so we're going to find it makes it a little bit harder to do the exercise. So exercises I can recommend, we can look at going down into like a kind of horse stance squat and pressing your palms together. You can look at a lunge, trying to push push the wall away, make your house a little bit bigger. You can look at sitting down. So sitting yourself down 90 degrees at the wall, reaching your hands up and pushing back as hard as you can, pushing your hands into your legs, or pushing out or in. Or you can get yourself down to all fours and you're just going to press out like you're trying to make the ground open up beneath you. So you're going to press out on all four corners to get that isometric going. Doesn't really matter what you choose. You just want as much of your body working as you possibly can, okay? So you can get yourself into a position. I'm going to jump myself over to the wall here, and we're going to aim for roughly 1 minute, okay? And we'll just see how we get on. So you're going to take a nice breath out, long breath out, up to you how you breathe out. And then we're just going to breathe in super deep with that little sharp extra breath and hold. And we're just going to hold it down here for a minute. Try to keep the maximum strength of the isometric exercise the entire time, okay? So if you're pushing with your arms, you don't want your arms to relax. When you're pushing down with your legs, you don't want your legs to relax. You want to try and maintain the same strength the whole time. If we don't get to a minute, don't worry. Maintaining that strength is more important. That's what's going to cause this large buildup of carbon dioxide in the system. You've got about just over 20 seconds left, just so you know. I apologize, I'm being lazy. It's very hard to do breathing exercises and talk at the same time. And yeah, I don't know if it's because it's the end of the day. Breathing is something I should be a little better at, but that one floored me a little bit. So we're going to stop in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. Nice. Okay, let's wrap it up for there. Those are all just different ways you can look at improving CO2 tolerance. Something I recommend. It's not 100% for everybody. It's going to be the best thing to do, but I would say I very rarely come across clients that I work with that I don't think would benefit from it. And most of the time when you can see this improve, when you find the sweet spot for training it, so you don't want to be pushing this so hard that you are absolutely exhausted after. You also don't want to push it so hard that you're drenched in sweat, or the least colorfully way to put it, that you really need to go to the bathroom afterwards or anything like that. All of these exercises that are building up acids in your body, your brain takes that really seriously. So if you do feel like you need to just expel your bowels when you're doing this exercise, your brain is more stressed out than it needs to be, okay? Your goal in all of these, unless you're trying to break a breath holding record, you are supposed to be trying to relax. And the way you're going to push through it is to figure out how to relax more. When your brain isn't letting you relax anymore, then you're going to let it go. And then on the next round, you're going to go back to thinking about being relaxed. You're never thinking about fighting against your brain to win, because you won't. And if you do, you'll still lose. So that's my closing thoughts on that. Sorry if they were a bit too graphic and gross. But yeah, there's breathing. Hope that was useful for some of you. Let me know if you got any comments. And yeah, I will see you in the next one.